Welcome back to my channel. In this video, in details how to start a business in Nigeria, specifically a baking business. Now, if you want to start a business, even if it's not a baking business, some tips in this video can also help. Before you start anything, normally you are going to plan it, right? So the first thing you need to do is to create a business plan. Now, a business plan is not as serious as it sounds. So I got the business plan template from Pinterest, and it's a business plan normally contains like questions you need to answer about your plan for the business. You are going to think properly on every single aspect of the business, how you plan to run the business from start to finish, from production to delivery. Online, go on Pinterest, get a business plan template to plan your business. You've seen questions like target customers, you've seen questions like business location, you've seen questions like marketing techniques and strategies. So things like that, you are going to fill them out in your business plan. Now, in Nigeria, if you want your business to be registered, you are going to have to register it with CAC. Now, there are some apps that can do this for you. There are some apps that can help you register your business with CAC. I'm going to put pictures of those apps on the screen. There are also people that personally help you to register with CAC. So you have to pay them, you have to pay them and you have to add charges. So all this really amount to nothing more than 25,000 naira as at now though. The next thing you are going to do is set up your kitchen or your work area. The things I did to set up my kitchen was, firstly, I wrote down my recipes, like recipes that I'll be using often. I wrote it down, I pasted it on the wall of my kitchen. It to be easy for me to just look and bake what I'm baking instead of opening book here and there, because I was baking a lot of pastries in my business, so I can't have everything memorized. I needed specific details of a certain recipe. I'll just look up and I'll see them. Another thing I did to set up my kitchen was get storage containers. I got storage containers that helped me to separate ingredients properly. For instance, if I had a jar for my chocolate chip, I had a jar for my flour, I had a jar for sugar, I had containers for everything to help with preservation, also to separate the ingredients properly. I didn't leave them in the bag that I bought them in, because it's much harder to open a bag and take ingredients out than a container. So what you need to do, get storage containers for your ingredients and everything. Another thing you need to do is to get mixing bowls, get several mixing bowls, because there are some recipes that you'll be working with that require several mixing bowls. Also, when you have large orders and you need to bake several pastries at the same time, you will need to get several mixing bowls so you can work at the same you can so that you can work on different pastries at the same time. Another thing you need to do to set up your kitchen is your equipment. Now, there are smaller equipment like your piping tips and your piping nozzles and everything. You can keep everything in one container. Then your flavors, you can organize your flavors in a certain container to make working easier for you. Also, you can keep equipment you use in mixing and whisking, like your whisk, your spatula, and the rest. You can keep them all in a cup or a bowl. You can keep all your packaging equipment and your packaging wrapping paper, your sealing bags and everything. You can keep them all in a bag or a box. This way, you know when you are going to package, everything you need is in a box. So just things to make work easier for you in your kitchen. The next thing you are going to do is to set up hygiene measures. In baking, this is what people are going to eat, so you need to be very clean about it. Several hygiene equipment used in baking. You can get several hand towels. I like having multiple hand towels in my kitchen, because there are some things you are baking. Let's say you are working with food color and food color stains your hand, and you clean it on one napkin, and it gets stained. You can't use that napkin again, so you can just keep it aside, get another napkin and keep working. So it helps to have several kitchen napkins with you. Also, you can get kitchen towels, you can get tissue paper. I like to use baby wipes sometimes, and I also like to use disinfectants in the kitchen too. So just get hygiene products that will make things easier for you as you bake. So how do you plan a product? Let's say I want to release my meat pie. I want to add meat pie to my menu. How do I plan this meat pie? Now, literally every restaurant you go to in Nigeria sells meat pie. A lot of people sell meat pie. Local shops, restaurants, everybody selling meat pie. So how are you going to make your own meat pie standard? That's what I'm going to do when I'm planning the meat pie. When I'm planning the product, I'm going to sit down and ask myself, how am I going to make my meat pie special? Okay, you can say I'm going to make my meat pie crust different. I'm going to add designs to it. I'm going to put markings on it. Or you can say I'm going to make the filling of my meat pie different. I'm going to add different ingredients. Or you can even put it in a fancy packaging to make your meat pie stand out in the market. Anything you do, you plan your product to make it stand out in the market. Now, in product planning, you can also plan your product line. You can plan holiday packages. For instance, the product line, you can say, I'm going to plan a vegan line where I make a vegan version of every pastry I make. Let's say you have your vegan meat pie where you use mushrooms instead of meat. You can call it mushroom pie. Create a vegan version of different Nigerian pastries. So you can have that. Anything, you can use anything to create a product line nowadays. Another thing is the holiday line or holiday products, holiday themed product. You can Christmas product. You can have a Christmas box where you make every Christmas and deliver it to your customers. In the box, you can have cookies, Christmas themed cookies, you can have fruit cake, basically Christmas pastries. Put it in the box with a nice card, customized and everything, and send it to your customers. So you can plan products for each season. There are different ways you can create an identity around your business. You can create it through colors, you can create it through a slogan, you can create it through your logo, you can create it through every product. You can communicate your brand identity through every product that you release. Business identity or brand needs to resonate throughout the business, from your website to your marketing to your ads to your social media to your product. Now, how do you communicate your brand through your product? Okay, let's say I have a baking business and my theme is to sell native pastries or native food. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to make each pastry original, like native. For instance, you know how food these days has been modernized and everything different. You have modern ways of serving food, designing food and everything. I'm going to go back to the root of how food used to be served, like serving rice in banana leaves and stuff like that. I'm going to go back to the roots. I'm going to look at how food used to be served. And my social media, I'm going to do my food photography in a very native way. You understand? When you have decided that this is the identity I want my business to carry, this is the brand identity I want for my business, I'm going to resonate it through everything, down from product to packaging to my website um to my slogan to everything about my business has to communicate what my business stands for. To do is to set up a sales channel. Now you can decide, am I going to sell this? You can decide, am I going to supply different retailers, or I'm going to sell this online? Am I going to sell this through? Am I going to have a shop for this? You will decide how you are going to sell your product. You can sell it through your website. You can sell it on social media. You can sell it on you can sell it on different shopping apps. You are going to decide which sales technique or the brand or easier for you. Now, communicating your brand identity through your products and everything kind of gives brand a uniformity and is attractive to look at and communicate one idea to the customers. So financial management, I had to learn this the hard way. I When I started out in my baking business, I wasn't really seeing the effects of that business in my finances. I was just making money and spending. I was not making accounts for anything. I was just throwing money around, putting it in any accounts I liked. I was not organized financially. So if you want to be organized financially, you need to set up different accounts for different purposes. Or you can also have one account or two accounts where you are storing money for the business. But if you want to be really organized, financially organized, you have to decide properly how you are going to share that comes out from your business. You're going to allot some money to pay yourself. You're going to allot some money to advertising, marketing. You're going to allot some money that you're going to invest back into the business. You're going to allot some expense that comes with running your business. You are going to allot amounts to them. And most importantly, you're going to pay yourself, because you can't be running a business and you are not seeing the money for yourself. I know that we want to put all our finances in the business and push the business forward, but we have to pay ourselves. We have to have money that we can say this is the money I made from my business. Is saving. Okay, let's say I started a baking business and I want to buy a big stand mixer. You can have a savings under your business account. Let's say after every profit you make, you're going to take a certain percentage and keep it aside to buy those more expensive equipment. Have savings, you can allot a certain amount that will accumulate over time that you're going to use to buy expensive equipment needed for the business. Next is division of labor. Now you can have different tasks allotted to different people. You can pay someone to do certain things for you, like the heavy lifting involved in a baking business. Like you have a huge order for a party, for instance, start kneading dough and mixing and everything. There are some things in baking that don't require expertise. They just require strength. So you can ask someone to come and help you with things like mixing, kneading, things like that that just require manpower. You can pay people to do that for you. Like when in my baking business, for example, whenever I have an order for small chops for a party, I don't make the small chops myself because if you're familiar with the process of small chops, it is time consuming. The only thing I make by myself is the spicy beef and the puff puff and whatever other pastry required for the party. You have to consider the fact that you can't start, let's say for something like the small chops I was making, I had to have one person making it for me because my customers will know that taste of small chops as my own small chop. So my customers already know that this is what my small chop tastes like. Another thing, you can also tell the person, you can also specify the quality you want this person to do something for you. For instance, you want someone else to make your meat pie for you. You want to stop making your meat pie yourself. You are going to give the person your recipe. You are going to give the person the technique they should follow, every single thing about your pastry, so that they'll make it for you every time you have a meat pie order. Your business is large enough for you to hire staff. You can hire staffs and arrange salaries with them. You can also rent services. Let's say you want to cater for a party and you don't have ushers or servers. There are organizations that will allow you to rent ushers and servers for your events. Next is quality control and feedback. Now, one thing you should not play with. Now, one thing you should not play with is your customer review. You should always ask for reviews from your customers. When they give you the review, you have to address it properly. Now, there is a way to address customer review. Let's say your customer says your cake is too sugary. You can't go and reduce the cake and everybody will now be eating a less sugary cake. Now, this can be just one person that wants a more sugary cake and everybody else likes the amount of sugar in your cake. What are you going to do? There are different ways you can manipulate a recipe to suit whatever customer you are serving. So whenever you are baking for that customer, you can say, okay, I'm going to make yours sweeter next time. But if this is a comment you have gotten from several customers, then that's a sign that you should change your recipe. Now, when you want to launch your business, you have to build excitement. You can start by you don't have to open your Instagram account or your Facebook page for the business the day you launch your business. You can start beforehand and build excitement, gain followers, interact, post content about your business and stuff like that before the launching date. And you need to start preparing for the launching weeks before you launch your business. You can't start preparing for the launching like the week you are starting the business or the month you are starting the business. You have to prepare for this launch properly. If you have the means or the money, you can get influencers to help you build excitement around your brand launch. You can give some influencers samples of those cookies to try out and talk about online before they launch. And when it eventually launches, you have enough traffic on your business page. You can also give free samples at the place you work or anywhere. You can give free samples, tell people that I'm going to launch my brand next week. These are free samples. Believe me when I say people like free samples, and free samples is also a way to get customers. I've gotten customers through free samples before. Another thing is after you've built the excitement and everything, you have to look for a way in which you are going to consider. You have to look for a you have to plan your growth strategy on how you are going to continue growing after the launch. So you build excitement towards the launch and you plan your growth strategy. So as a business owner, you have to network with other people in your business. You can let's say I'm on Facebook, I can join Facebook pages with bakers. When I started out baking, there was this baking class I attended and there were bakers in the group. So I DM'd every baker on that group and a lot of them were from my school then. So I got to know these bakers and we talked and I met some of them and we talked on WhatsApp and we just had this friendship based on we are all bakers, based on we are both bakers. So it's always important to network with people in your field. That way you can share updates, you can share techniques, recipes, and things like that. There are some people in your field that will be very generous with knowledge and they'll tell you things you need to know about how to survive in that business. Another thing is to stay informed in whatever business you are in. You have to stay informed by you can stay informed through social media, you can stay informed by talking to people in your field. You can stay informed by finding out trends in your business. So we've come to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching to this end and I wish you success in your baking business.